Good evening, guys. It's Sunday night at 10 o'clock. That means this must be the APAT show. Lee, it's lovely to have one Robert Needham back with us.
That's perfectly adequate explanation as why he's on the show. Doesn't mean it's a bit lame though, isn't it? I mean, this is the renowned author Robert Needham, who's on the show to tell us all about the third of the trilogy, Steve Ash trilogies. I mean, but obviously he's already been impacted by the APAT show Bok in that just as we were in the green room kind of ready to go, he said, I've just bust the main event. Yeah, that's the way.
There he is, I thought, gone.
Well, maybe next time. We'll keep going.
So we've got an exclusive there. I think we're hearing about Steve Ash 4. Okay, so there's going to be a fourth in the trilogy. Go and explain that to Amazon because Rob said he's coming back. So there's either going to be a Steve Ash 4 or there's going to be something new. But one way or another, we're going to try and get some exclusive news out of Rob tonight. He hasn't said anything, but I think, Lee, given that we've done this over 100 times, our investigative journalism, it's just got to be able to pay off tonight, right? We've got to get some tidbit from Rob, I think.
I would imagine we will, if nothing else, we'll get his tips for the upcoming football season. If we can't get anything else out of him, we'll get that at the very least. I reckon.
I'm not sure I want to talk about football tonight, but that's a whole other story. Right. Shall we get some poker up on screen?
Let me talk through what we've got going on as it's that Sunday night feeling again. So it's 4 tournaments as we come to the conclusion of leaderboard ladders for the week. The 5 o'clock deep stack that got 74 runners. That's come to a conclusion already. Top of the table there, Marcus Altkirch from out of Mexico, regular player with APAT Marcus's. Maxim Makulier from Canada was in second, and Konstantin Veselkov from Russia was in third. Nice $203 up top for Marcus, so very well done to him.
Nice.
The Sunday main event that unfortunately we've booked our guest out of already. What can we say? Well, we'll send the ticket in the post or something. That's got a prize pool tonight of $2,955. 99 runners in that tonight. It's paying top 17 and we've only got 12 of those remaining, so we're getting close to a final table. $737 up top in that one. The PLO tonight, that was only just a little bit shy of the $1,000 guarantee. 32 runners in that. We're actually heads up in that already. That has absolutely flown by tonight, to say the least. Matt Sayers cashed in that. Greg Mawson cashed in that. Billy Johnson cashed in that. Eddie Niaksu cashed in that. It's currently heads up. Eugeniu Draxler Corum from Germany versus Jeremy Svenen from Belgium. So good luck to both of those heads up. And finally, our $500 guarantee 9 o'clock event. It's Turbo PKF 500. I mean, we smash the guarantee in that every Sunday night. 73 runners into that tonight, $730 in the prize pool. There are 33 players remaining in that. We are paying top 13. So that's the plan. We'll follow the action in the main event down to conclusion and then skip over to the Turbo Knockout and give you a rundown how that plays out. As far as the leaderboards go for this week, there's a certain young Mr. Peter Wigglesworth who's currently top of the table. I don't see his name in very much going on tonight, though. So Pete could be on a bit of possibly on a sweat already, drinking out the 19th hole for all we know. He's got a few players that are chasing him down. There's a young whippersnapper that's had 3 cashes so far this week. Des, he plays out of Ireland by the name of Brendan Byrne.
Never heard of him.
No, I don't know.
Never heard of him.
I feel he's got potential poker future in him if he can, graft. Do you know what I mean? Learn the game, understand the ropes. He has potential to go.
That's right. And we don't want to see arrogance, right? We don't want to see arrogance. You have one good week. You don't want to be, thinking of yourself as a bit of a legend, right?
Yeah.
But we do have a legend. We do have a legend.
I was going to say before, one other legend before we go to we do have top of the table at the moment in the main event. One Tony Ross.
That's the very same legend that I was going to mention.
Are we literally both talking about the same legend?
I've put him up. Wow. His table is up there. We see Brian Harlan was all in there. I think he must have doubled. I only caught the end of the hand. But one Tony Ross up on screen.
There's only one. Good job. There's only one Tony Ross. Honestly, we'd have no added value budget left if there was more than one Tony Ross. We would be in a whole heap of trouble. Seriously.
Do you know? Ironically, I talk about just putting his table up. I'm having a look. I can't see him there. Where's he gone?
He's definitely there.
Has he been? We haven't boxed him, have we?
Well, no, we're down to 11, so the chances are they've just balanced the tables, Des. So
Oh, I
probably if
think
you
you're
flick
fine.
to the other table, you'll probably find he's just moved to cause carnage on the.
I'll do a
second table.
Ross. I'll do a Lionel Messi style flick, and the other table just pops up. No tears involved in that flick.
Or we can get on to discuss that. I've got a view on all of that. That's
Sorry, all of what?
all of the old Messi stuff.
Messi? Messi?
Yeah, yeah.
It was messy.
Well, it's certainly bizarre. That's for sure. But, that is for sure. But
that can be dessert in this show.
I was going to say, yeah, we'll add it to the list of things to be discussing on tonight.
I wonder if we have the same opinion, Lee.
I don't know. Possibly, yeah, maybe it's all. Well, no, let's just talk about it now as we're talking about it.
God, the bloody thing's gone. Have we reached the final table?
What's your take on it then, Rob?
Well, I just clearly the problem is that Barcelona have run out of money, right? So
yeah.
There's one very simple solution, which I think they've sort of arrived at, which is that either they get rid of the first team and most of the rest of the team, and keep Messi, or Messi goes, or Messi takes a pay cut.
Yeah. Now, the understanding is I think this was already planned, and it was a case of, right, how do we do it? In which case, neither Barcelona or Messi lose face in him leaving. The reality is, if you saw the press conference today where he was shedding it, and some of the quotes are like, he didn't want to go, he didn't want. Well, play for free then.
Yeah.
But
listen, you have earned enough money from this club that you love and have been at all of your life. If you're looking for another couple, because he's 34 now, so if you're looking for another couple of years of top flight football and you love this, don't take a 50% pay cut. Just play, go and say, I'll play for average wage in Spain for 2 seasons. Yeah.
Lee, hold on a second now. The guy is on about $500,000 a week, and you want him to play for free, right? He's going to do that. He's not going to play for free, Lee. I'm sorry about that.
Well, the point is that he doesn't just earn his money from his wages at Barcelona. Could you mind cleaning the screen?
Sorry, let me just.
He doesn't. That's just a portion of the money that he earns as a player. If you cannot come on there, start the old waterworks and say about, I don't want to leave the club. Well, don't leave the club then.
That's right. So you could play for free.
It's as simple as that.
I agree with you. But there is one other thing, right? There is one other thing that is very important. Well, there's probably a couple of things. One, he would almost certainly have some sort of taxable value. So if it looks like he was playing for free, and if indeed he was playing for free, chances are the Spanish authorities would still want 200 grand a week out of somebody for having him there. That's number one. Number two, some of the stuff that we just won't be thinking about is that Messi probably has an entourage of 100 people who all earn a golden salary of some sort based on supporting the guy. He'll have his own physiotherapist and medical staff and training staff and car staff and all of that sort of stuff. He's probably got his own wage bill to meet, so he probably doesn't want to have to pay the tax man without money coming in. He probably doesn't want to have to pay his own staff without money coming in. And I agree with you. Play for free.
So a couple of things to say there. One, there wouldn't be a tax bill.
Well, there might be though, because the Spanish are going to say they're paying him through the back door. He's getting he's not playing for free.
But if they can't prove anything, if he genuinely is saying, well, I'll play for, I'll play for.
He's already got form though, hasn't he? Hasn't he already been penalised for tax abuse and stuff? He's probably on a yellow card.
Is who anyone watching that is genuinely going, really? I mean, come on. It's all a bit fake. It's all a bit, and he's also come out and said that it might not be PSG that he goes to.
Are you telling me?
Who else is there that would actually be able to afford whatever his wages might be at the moment?
I think what you're trying to tell me is, if there was a real film Hollywood version of This Is Where You Call, with Tom Cruise playing Steve Ash, right? And Shirley Cole's actually got to step in to play herself. I think you're saying bad acting. Is that what you accused Messi of today?
I think we are very much accusing Messi of a very staged and poor.
I'm saddened. I'm saddened.
Poor effort. That's my take on it. Anyway.
No Oscars. No Oscars going to Barcelona today. So where's he going to end up? Is it most definitely PSG? I mean, it looks like it's moving that way and quickly.
Well, he's come out and said that's not, they're not the only ones, but you do kind of go, I mean, what do you think, Rob? I mean, who else is in a position to afford him at the moment?
I think probably it's going to be PSG. I'm wondering, and this is the problem. I've kind of got a bit of a no, maybe not negative view, but just wondering whether he's saying it because if another club might be in the picture, that PSG might offer slightly more than what they would have done otherwise. So you don't know how much of that is negotiation. But then I was thinking earlier that Man City have said that they weren't interested, and that might be the same, but the other way around. So they're trying to say that as in all right, you can come and play for us, but we're not going to offer you sort of the money.
What's he going to be looking at wage wise?
I don't. Is he? What's he on now? 34? More? No, it's more than that. 34 million a year.
It's going to be higher than Tesco money. We know that.
Yeah.
Is he earning about half a million a week, something like that?
Yeah, 500-600 grand a week.
Yeah.
But he was prepared to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
But PSG surely aren't going to be able to turn it. Well, but mind you could. So the argument, I suppose, is this: is if you said it was 30 million a year to have Messi, and you've not got a transfer fee, there's actually quite a few clubs that would go. Liverpool might go. Do you know what? Yeah, for 2 years, 30 million a year. So it's cost us 60 million all in. We get Messi. You probably would make that back in shirt sales and whatnot. Having a player of that stature at your club, it's probably financially is not actually that big a deal.
I think where it might get interesting is the knock-on effect. So if, for example, Messi does go to PSG, and given that Mbappe is sort of nearing the end of his contract, I think the question might be one of, do PSG then try and cash in on Mbappe early? That's where it could get interesting. That's where Liverpool
but interestingly, the papers the other day were suggesting that if they sign Messi, that could secure Mbappe to sign a new contract.
Yeah, I don't know.
They think it could go the other way, in which case he would then be, well, okay, yeah, I want to stay and play with Lionel Messi for 2 seasons. Depends what type of player Mbappe is. I mean, ultimately, where is he going to go? If they want a fee for him, it doesn't look like the likes of Real Madrid or, well, as Rob said, with Barcelona at the moment.
Liverpool. He can go to Liverpool. Liverpool or Watford, one of those two.
But if you got the 100,
of course we have.
150 million to buy Mbappe?
Absolutely. We have a baseball team in Boston that we can sell.
It would appear all of the so-called big six have all of a sudden got a spare 150 million. They were furloughing staff only last year, but apparently...
Excuse me, I made a stand against that. I said no.
Yeah.
Or to be, politically correct, I said no.
But it is quite amusing that, Arsenal are splashing the cash.
Bastards, they sold their bloody mascot, didn't they? Sold him down the river.
They made a load of people redundant, and amazingly, Tottenham seem to be splashing the cash. Although we're secretly pretty sure that that's just the Kane money already being allocated before anybody thinks, oh, they've got a load of cash burning in their back pocket. But we'll see.
Did you see Pep in his press conference over a couple of days ago talking about Jack Grealish? Great signing, 100 million, a lot of cash, but a great signing. Really, really making the point that they'd sold a lot of peripheral players to the value of 60 million, and therefore it was no brainer to buy Jack Grealish. I'm not sure it works exactly like that.
There was
because they bought quite a lot before that, haven't they?
There was some weird stuff on TalkSport this week. When the
Grealish stuff was from that.
Oh, there was some weird. But it was very much along those lines of going, well, and Man City have been really clever because actually they've already effectively got that Grealish money because they bought, they sold XYZ in the last 18 months. And then you went, well, what about the 60 million they spent on Diaz? last season. Yeah, I think they'd actually spent more than the amount that he was saying that they'd save. It's like, yeah, that's not prudent or being clever with your finances whatsoever. Ilfa Crooms #1 is in the chat. We all know who that is, even to you.
Embarrassing.
He says it was embarrassing. Yeah, the Messi. I'm assuming he's talking about the Messi press conference and not one of us. But let's assume it was Messi he's referring to. Yeah.
One Tony Ross, who stands alongside one Robert Needham as an individual with one in their name because they are special, says shh. Now I'm sure that refers to the glowing tribute we gave to him at the start of the show.
Yeah, he is now currently 3rd in chips, and we are on a we're on 8, so we should be on a this should be the final table. So we are down to 8, and Brian Harland is now chip leader on this. So
sometimes I just lie back in bed at night, Lee, and I think about how much money Tony Ross has actually cost us over the last 6 months.
Lie back in bed and you just think about Tony Ross.
I think about Tony Ross. It's not a pleasant experience.
I mean, to be honest, there are other APATers that you probably should have higher up that list. To be perfectly
really
honest.
Who would you in mind? Who would you in mind? Come on, spill the beans.
Crack on. Yeah.
John Murray? No.
You crack on with that.
Steve Roderick? Come on.
That's 2 weeks in a row we've mentioned. There's 2 weeks in a row we've mentioned John Murray. He might actually appear in the chat at some point.
Yeah, F off, you pervert, and then he'll disappear again. He'll just be gone.
Yeah, and you won't see anything of him for a little while. Oh. So, Rob, tell us, how's it been since we last had you on the show, and obviously you did the book launch and everything, and we're coming out of lockdown and stuff. How's life been for you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. I can't remember exactly the timelines that we did it on. I'm not sure if my daughter had been born by the time we last did a book launch or not. So I think she. Yes, I think that. Yes, I'm pretty sure you were a father. Yeah.
She was at the launch.
So she was at the launch. She was there. So she
was signing books, wasn't she? She was actually signing the books. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, life's been really good. We're obviously have had Evie, and Evie's been keeping us entertained over the last sort of 9 months or so. With
the rest of us have had COVID. Carry on.
Well, we've it's been very busy, as I'm sure you can imagine. There's been a lot of sleepless nights over the last couple of months, but actually it's been really good. The writing has been quite good as well. It's taken a bit longer to write this book than the previous books, and I think that's partly down to we went through the second lockdown in January, and I don't know about you guys, but I found that one was particularly horrible. The first one, it was sort of a bit of a novelty, and you kind of, it was a new experience and all that.
And it was the summer.
Exactly. And it was the summer. Yeah. And so being locked inside, not being able to do anything, and it being dark and raining and stuff, just was a bit of a downer, really. But we seem to have come out of it quite well.
I mean, all I would say to you, Rob, is you want to try spending full lockdown in this room with Des.
Oh,
it's honestly,
it's not easy.
He doesn't let me out.
I'll tell you,
we've
gone to the point now that we've had to do this show from different rooms. Am I right, Lee? Because we just couldn't stand each other. Yeah. I hate that guy. I'm not sitting beside him again with a different background. So we're now in different rooms. We've got to share the same bathroom.
We really did become the Ant and Dec of poker. Yeah, we really did. Yeah.
But it's been really good. It's been. I've enjoyed it very much. There's been lots of football, as we sort of already talked about a bit already, but I definitely feel like I've been able to see a lot more of Watford than I probably would have done in normal times, and as I say, the writing's been really good as well. I think I've got probably the best story now out of all the ones that I've written. I think this might be the best one I've done so far. So definitely excited to release it and get it out to the world.
So are we going to have what they call that sort of definitive finish, or are things going to hang a bit at the end? Are you going to have space to go back if you want to at a later point?
I feel like I should say you have to buy the book and find out, Des, but
I'm going to buy the book. Believe me, I'm going to buy the book. No question. But that doesn't mean I don't want to know the answer, right? Sell me.
No.
As Terry Tibbs would say, sell me.
No, there's definitely going to be a definitive end. It's one of the things I've been kind of cautious with how I approach writing the books right from the start. So one of the things that kind of drives me a bit mad is when series goes on for so long, where the writers have sort of run out of ideas, and it kind of gets a bit like a bit painful, a bit slow, and things don't really seem to happen. So I feel like the trilogy, there's new ideas in this story. There's new things that haven't happened before. We've got quite an interesting situation actually, where so in the second book we have Steve is gathering intelligence for the NCA.
That's right.
Whilst he's playing poker and embedding himself in with the criminal underworld that he's found himself in. In the third book, we have an NCA officer who's turned by the Jax mob, and so there's sort of becomes a bit of a race against time to crack the guys and get them before Steve gets found out himself.
There's an insider. There's a mole in the NCA. Yeah. I like it. It's like a week with Tony Trippier. This sounds really, really cool. And I have to say, the very first one, Rob. So fold, right? This is where you fold. For anybody who hasn't seen the books, read the books, this was based on the story of a guy who creates some technology, right, which means he can sit at a poker table and he can effectively see his opponent's hole cards. So not beyond the realm of possibility. You think of all of that RFID technology that we see on live poker streams today. So you watch a stream and the cards automatically come up on the screen as the game is being played. So absolutely, the sort of story that you feel could happen. So this guy uses this technology to further his poker career, and then he falls in with some bad guys, of course. That's clearly gotta happen. Then he gets drafted by the NCA, right? So call them the MI whatever, or the FBI, or whatever you would want to compare them to. And now he's in all sorts of bother trying to protect people and what have you. So book 3 will see an end to the story. So tell me, what was the biggest challenge in writing it, Rob? There must have been many crossroads in terms of how you could have taken individual characters down.
I really hope it wasn't like Crossroads. Honestly, we're in a whole heap of trouble if it was.
Listen, I mentioned Tom Cruise here, not the guy from Crossroads. What, are you kidding me? So where were the challenges?
I think some of the challenges were in the style of writing that I have. There's two sorts of styles that you can have. So there's a plotter where you write everything out and make sure that you have a plot of what you want to do, and then there's a type called a pantser, which comes from writing by the seat of your pants, and I tend to fall more into the pantser category. So I'm sort of making it up as I go along, really, and the story with all the intertwining characters became quite complicated, but not in a bad way. It was just the way that the story wrote. So making sure that I had all of the elements that I needed to be able to tell the story in a way that was exciting and kept moving, and didn't leave any of the bits out that were important, basically. And that can be kind of hard to do as you're going along. So the way that I tried to do that was just try and figure out what I'm doing in the next couple of chapters, and then go through it like that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And the book is off with the editor at the moment. Tell me, are you happy with it?
I am, yes, definitely. I think there's been, I've tried to focus a bit on my craft this book as well. So
good.
Where the last ones I've done, just written what I thought was going to make a good book, and it seems to have worked. But I tried to put a bit more time into working out how to describe certain situations and how to get the characters moving and the story moving so that it's exciting. I think they're all exciting actually, but what I'm trying to say is I'm just trying to do it better.
You're developing as a writer, right? Experience. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And tell me, has Christina read any of it? Your good wife, has she read any of this third book? She has. Was she happy with it?
She was, yeah. There was some scenes where I was trying to evoke certain emotions, and there's one scene in particular where I was very happy when she started crying, which I'm not sure is necessarily a good thing, but it was the first time I've been happy that I've made her cry, so that was good.
She's probably there thinking, oh no, we're going to have to survive on Tesco money for the rest of our lives. Oh no. It's probably a bit of that, Rob, a bit of that going, well, that's good to hear. I heard the last chapter made Evie cry. That's what I heard.
Yeah, Evie does a lot of crime, but I think it was specifically that chapter that did it. Yeah,
fantastic. And when do you hope to see it go out? I mean, when can we plan our launch show? Right, that's what I'm really asking.
Yeah. So it's going to be in October. I'm still not 100% sure yet whether it's going to be at the start or the end of October. I think it depends on how much. It'll depend on what comes back from the editor. So if there's a lot of things that need to change, then it probably be more towards the end,
Right.
and the other way around if it's not.
Okay, so listen, I've got an idea. I wanted to run this by you, seeing as I've had this brief opportunity to talk to you. I've got an idea for the cover, right? I've got Lee standing in a field, right, in one of the southern counties, and he's got his hands up in the air. There's the fiery flames of a crashed airplane close by. You've got two guys trying to sort out his internet. What do you think? A runner?
I think that's going to be good. Was that not a picture on Lee's Facebook the other day? I'm sure I saw that on his Facebook
Really?
page.
It's very similar thing. Yeah.
I had no idea, but it just shows you it's a winner, because I've lived through that particular story with Lee, and I'm telling you,
Ez still doesn't
I
believe
cried.
that really happened. Yeah.
I cried. Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, dear. So, Rob, I was going to ask, funny if I'm knowing you were on the show tonight, I sat earlier on and happened to be on the TV on ITV this evening was another one of the Harry Potter films.
Mm-hmm.
So they're obviously just doing the usual Sunday night rattling through. Someone about a goblet or something or other. I don't know. I don't pay attention. But it got to the end of the film and it got me thinking, I tell you what, nothing seems to happen in the world of Harry Potter outside of term time.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a gap hole in the writing there. She's kind of let it down a bit there. Really, it's like, does Voldemort just kind of go, oh well, it's kids are off, we'll have a break. When it comes to writing and stuff, how much does it play on your mind that the amount of eyes that are going to be on your book and delving into every detail about ensuring that you're not contradicting yourself, or you've got continuity in what you're doing, and it isn't, and you're not making glaringly people going, well, that's just that just wouldn't happen, or that's a load of nonsense. How do you run through that process?
So there's a group. So I'll go through the story to start with. So obviously write it out over quite a long period of time, and then before it goes to the editor, I have about a week where I read through it myself and make sure that it seems like it flows okay. And then of course the editor will flag anything she thinks isn't realistic. But even if all of that doesn't work out, I have a team of about 20 people who read the manuscript before we launch the book, and they go through it, and I ask them in return if they will tell me anything they think isn't realistic or doesn't quite work, or if they think a character wouldn't behave in the way that they've been set up to. They would give me that feedback.
Obviously, there's a lot of quite key poker related, and we were talking about this on the show a couple of weeks ago about poker lingo and things which start sometimes appear in the mainstream a little bit more and than you'd expect. And when you get your other half starting to kind of make comments, I need to run better or run. So that's completely a poker thing. Do those that are in the group reading, or what does your editor understand poker, or is it, you had to do a bit of training in that respect?
So she doesn't understand poker. So that's part of the reason that I get the ARC is advanced reader copy. So the ARC team, who are mostly poker fans, get copies of that. And then as an extra little bit to that, I've added little footnotes into the story. So if someone's reading through who has absolutely no idea what poker is about, there's little explanations about what the jargon is as they go along, which should hopefully make it a bit more easy to understand what the stories are and what's going on.
Oh, look at Tony Ross. He's all in here, and he's managed to hit. Key card.
Avoided the club on the river there.
That's why he's a legend. That's why he's a legend. Or Mr. Lucky.
Doubles up, and five left now. Brian Harlan's still the chip leader, and Kenneth Oroz from Canada is third. Lenka is from the Czech Republic, and Cameron Druitt is from the UK.
Nice.
Decent stat though, because they're all on over 20 bigs here, so plenty of play for them.
It's far too early to talk about the Poker League, right? It's far too early. We've got a lot of other stuff to get through.
I mean, it's not even midnight yet. What are we doing? I don't even
I'm
know why I wasn't even going to bother, and then you drew us over to there's poker on the screen.
It's just I was hoping. I saw dollars dancing in front of my eyes when Tony Ross was all in, but naturally he was ahead.
Yeah.
And he hit, and he survived the dramatic river. I'm not even finished with Harry Potter yet. Right, so Sean's away. Right, she's away with the in-laws. Right, with her parents, with the kiddies and stuff. So I dropped her a casual little text yesterday. I said, "Hey, love, when are you coming back?" And she said, "Oh, Tuesday." I said, "Tuesday? You always come back on Sunday evening. You're not coming back on Sunday evening." And she said, "Sunday evening? Don't be mad. That's Harry Potter night."
I hate to break it to you. So that was the Goblet one. They did say that next week's one is the Prince one. And I know that the last two was a two-parter, the Deathly Hallows. So there's at least 3 more, but I don't know what order they're. Are you a Harry Potter fan, Rob? Are you?
Yeah, well, I am a fan. I'm not as big a fan as Christina, my wife.
Okay.
She
so
is
after Goblet, is there just 3 more? Is there the Prince, the Half-Blood Prince, and then the other, and then the double act 2? Is that it?
No, there's 4. So there's 7 books in total.
You're not seeing her until into September.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Lee. It sounds like she won't be back till the end of the month. In which case, we're going on holiday. Guess where we're going on holiday to? Well, Wales? With her parents. She might as well just stay there. Oh, holy God, it's awful because I've got to look after myself and everything. And frankly, that isn't easy, right? I'm complex. Everybody knows that.
So, let me just update you that the PLO's finished. So, Jeremy Svennen from Belgium won that against Eugenie from Germany. We are on double watch here. Tony Ross is now chip leader in this main event. Tony Ross is also chip leader in the Turbo Knockout at 9 o'clock.
Wow, no way.
He is aiming for a double to finish the week. Can he do it?
He's a machine. I feel like Paddy Power. I feel like saying, right, we're going to pay off all bets on Tony Ross right now. Right, we're just paying him off now, no matter what.
Before we go any further, just I want to give quick to Pomine in the chat. My simple response back is just yo. I'm just going to yo back. As simple as that. That's all it needs.
I like it.
Rob, we're still getting used to, because obviously, so we're only streaming on Twitch now instead of Facebook. So we're still getting used to this whole username thing of what's trying to work out who the people are who will know us. We're guessing because they've watched the show, or maybe not. Maybe they've just randomly found us on Twitch or whatever. But yeah, we just decided we're going to go down with the cool kids and just go with usernames and alias is the best way to be, isn't it?
You absolutely nailed it, Lee. There are people on here whose names we don't know who are far cooler than the people on Facebook. They say stuff like yo, and honestly, I've got a little sort of book here just trying to flick through to see what the hell does it mean. Is there a hidden meaning to yo on Twitch?
I think you're okay.
So
if it was YOLO, then that would mean something completely different. But yo, I think it's just as it's always meant.
What does it mean, Lee? I'm a 60s child. I struggle with
colloquial hello. I believe it's just it's nothing
short for hello.
Nothing more than that. Yeah.
Yo, Olympics finished. Are we sad?
Yeah,
I think I am actually. It's been very good for the early morning starts.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that. Waking up and switching the telly on and someone's boxing or something like that. It's brilliant. It's been good.
It's funny that you mention that, but I felt like Jack Reacher today, right? Because I went to bed quite late last night and I woke up at 5:57. Right? I don't wake up at 5:57. I woke up at 5:57 and the first thing that came into my brain was, hold on, the Irish boxer is boxing for gold at 6 a.m. So I got up. I was back in bed at 6:15. It was the most amazing 17 minutes of my life. We took the gold, back in bed. Absolutely. The whole thing was done in about 17 minutes. Brilliant. I'm going to miss it, though.
It's been superb. I have a huge amount of sympathy for the people of Tokyo, because I think the reality of it is they have put on an incredible games in really, really difficult situation, and they've kind of missed out on getting to enjoy it there and live, as you know, as many people will have done when it was in London in 2012, and that's gutting for them. But you cannot fault what they put on in the way of the games, and from a TV viewer point of view, it just felt like any other games, really. And a couple of nice touches. I actually quite like them handing each other their medals when they win on the podium and that kind of thing. It's actually, it feels quite a nice thing to do, actually, to, as much as some random IOC committee member or whatever's handing you medal. No, I'd rather the person I've just won it with puts it on my neck. It felt really, really nice from that point of view. I thought the athletics was a little bit disappointing. Certainly from a British point of view, but actually just in general. And it's interesting when you look at the athletics events, they've not really ever changed. It's always been the same kind of stuff, and you're seeing some new events, and we talked about this the other week, coming in with the mixed relays and these type of events. And I really feel the athletics could do with freshening things up a little bit. Get a mixed relay in there, maybe even get a mixed some sort of team decathlon, heptathlon type thing going on in there, where something which is a bit more interesting for viewers to watch and participate in and feel part of, rather than it be a lot of individuals pulling up with a muscle strain, which is what seemed to be happening quite a lot.
Here's an idea. How about a modern pentathlon, right? One that's modern, because the modern pentathlon was created in 1896. Can you imagine what the old version was like? But how about one with horses who know what the hell they're doing?
That was one of the most horrible things to watch in the Olympics. It was, it really was just you just felt for the German athlete. What do you do?
Listen, I felt for the Irish athlete. I didn't think at all for the German athlete. We were in third place. We were in with a medal chance. Bloody horse wouldn't jump. I said, absolute disaster.
Which one was that? Which one was that? Was that the
Coyle?
The women or the men?
The women. The women.
So
it's the exact same as the German athlete. She was first. She went down to like 34th.
Yeah, but it was the same horse.
Oh no, I don't think so.
No, right. No. So how it works is.
Oh, I know that.
Well, particularly with the German one, that horse did exactly the same thing for another athlete earlier on.
Yeah, no, the Irish athlete.
She still chose to have the same horse. She could have picked a reserve horse.
Oh, could she? I didn't know that.
Yeah. She could have picked a reserve horse, and she chose to stick with the horse.
As I understand it, the German athlete's trainer did like 3 minutes in a ring with the horse prior to the round. So got sent home for it. So apparently struck the horse.
Yeah, punched the horse. So got a black card for it or whatever. So which is a bit.
Is it any wonder the horse was slightly disturbed?
Yeah. So apparently for Paris in 3 years' time, they are making that modern pentathlon a 90-minute event. Everything's going to happen back to back.
Really?
And
wow.
And it's going to come down to, you'll need to qualify to be in the top 8 to then do the final laser run. But the idea is that the whole thing will be a back-to-back, effectively 90-minute thing all in one go, to try and make it a bit more interesting for the viewers. But I thought it was fascinating to watch anyway, even if it was spread over a couple of days, really.
I'd like to have seen the show jumping round on a rocking horse, right? So it's a level playing field. Nobody's going over, right? You just got to sit in that horse for 34 seconds.
But it does make you wonder what else could you get into the Olympics. So for Paris, breakdancing is in the Olympics in 3 years' time.
Is it?
Yes. Breakdancing is in the Olympics in Paris in 3 years' time.
But
breaking is the kids call it these days.
Yo,
exactly. Yeah.
So I guess
that's genuine. But it does make you then go, well, okay, so what else should be in, and what should be dropped, because actually it doesn't kind of work anymore. I said the other week about, I would love to see them drop both the football events, but create a 7-a-side mixed kind of street football style tournament, which I think would be, would be so much more skill and flair and, flicks and tricks and all that kind of thing, which would be far more entertaining to watch, but make it a mixed event. Because I think from that point of view, male and female playing five-a-side is pretty much just a level playing field. So why not just do that and try something a little bit different to make it interesting? What would you pick, Rob, if you could add stuff? Or
I was just going to say you could do a football one where they're just doing tricks, because there's lots of really good trickster type footballers out there, and they're not the guys that tend to be playing on the pitch either. So
you could definitely
artistic football.
Yeah.
Listen, I've got this idea, right? You've got 7 or 8 dancers, right? You put them in a swimming pool. Are you with me? You play some music and you let them at it. What do you think? I was going to call it coordinated swimming.
It's nice. I like it.
I like that.
I'm still working on the title.
But I do think with the now they've added the extra word to the Olympic motto by throwing together in there. Well, it's the perfect chance. Apparently they're going to I think in Paris as well, they're also looking at mixed synchronized diving as well, because I think Tom Daly was mentioning that. Maybe that'd be something different, where so it's looking at all the different events where you can go, well, actually, why are we bothering having separate stuff when actually they could? I mean, the thought of actually a 4x100 relay in athletics where it's 2 male, 2 female, and you can choose which leg you want to put them on, would just be incredible to watch, to decide what strategy would you play, how would you choose, as it worked in the swimming. It was an amazing race to watch in the swimming. I think it would add, and I'd love to see maybe some sports come together where they become a kind of a relay thing. I don't know, 2 or 3 events, and maybe the final where it tags on to the BMXer who's hits the track, or something to say. It all feels quite doable.
I like the thought of mixed boxing. Can you imagine the viewing numbers for the court cases afterwards?
Do you think that that the sports that have always been, it's kind of the mental sports that have been talked about, so that the likes of chess and poker's been mentioned in those brackets as well. Do you think we'll ever see a day where something like that would have a place in the Olympics, or do you think it's always going to be a requirement for a kind of physical exertion for it to make it?
I think it's got to be a physical thing for the Olympics. I, as much as I'd love to see poker in the Olympics, or chess as well, I just think that it's different skill sets that you have to have. So yeah, I think it's got to be a physical thing.
What do you feel about, obviously it's about inspiring the youth, and and everyone can strive and achieve, but we all know that there are some kids in school that they're not sporty. It's just not their thing. Do you think there should be as much promotion for something like that, which maybe, I don't know, it could be chess, and maybe it's a spelling bee, and it's and it's that kind of that actually it can sometimes be about an academic Olympics, so to speak, that kids could strive to achieve. Because otherwise, if you're not sporty kid, it's just like, well, how am I supposed to get into this?
Hold on, that's University Challenge, is it not?
I mean, you could argue it's University Challenge, yeah. Although if you've ever, we've just finally got to the end of the last series. The new season's already started. We have it on series record, and we've only literally just finished watching the last series now. And Jen and I sit there most weeks with University Challenge. If to be honest, if we can answer 3 or 4 questions between us, we're high-fiving. It's been a good night.
I have to say, guys, I mean, talking about new sports coming in, I was very disappointed by the early skateboarding competitions, right, which were skill-based and trick-based and what have you. And I didn't feel they worked well, because inevitably people were coming off of their board quite quickly. But I didn't know it was coming. They obviously had some sort of freestyle skateboarding competition then towards the end, and actually that went really, really well.
I think what it was, Des, is the I think the first skateboarding. Well, we need Ben Cundall on here, because he's skateboarding crazy mad, and he would know exactly the answer to this for us. But I think what the first one, which we both watched and said, well, that was just a bit of a farce. Well, I think that was just a case of they just did one trick. It was one run.
Yeah,
this is the trick I'm going to do, and they either landed it or they didn't. Of course, whereas with what then happened in the skate park, it was a full-on routine.
Yeah,
where
that was super. That looked really good.
Yeah, and the guys, the BMX stuff was just insane.
That was
some of
a
the stuff
pleasure
that
to watch.
they were doing.
Yeah.
And as was said on the commentary in the closing ceremony, I think the Christmas lists for BMXs and skateboards this year might be going through the roof, with kids all going, I could do that.
But that's
not a
the beauty
problem.
of the Olympics, isn't it? For the youth, it's introducing sports like that can actually inspire that people, you can't just easily go out and buy a show jumping horse, right?
As I tweeted earlier on, I said, I'm completely inspired by the Olympics. All I need now is a sword, a pistol, use of a swimming pool, and anyone who's got a spare horse. I'll see you in Paris. Yeah.
But I tell you what, talking about horses, the boss's daughter, Jessica Springsteen, won a silver medal for the USA.
Yes.
And did well. Did very well.
Finished 7th. Very impressive to say the
least.
Yeah.
7th? They finished 2nd.
No, she didn't get a medal. She finished 7th.
No, the USA finished 2nd in the team event.
Yesterday. Oh, in the team event, maybe. Yes, but in the individual, she finished 7th.
No, she didn't qualify for the final. She didn't make the top 30. 4 faults. Yeah, I kept an eye on both. I actually thought that was really interesting. I haven't watched a show jumping competition for quite some time. None of the Americans, surprisingly, made the top 30 in the individual qualifiers. So they didn't get through to the individual event, which I think Sweden finished 2nd, 4th, and 5th. They did remarkably well. But the USA finished joint top in the team event yesterday. 8 faults rather, level with Sweden. France went into the final jump on 2 faults, and the horse gave up halfway through and got eliminated. So it went to a jump off. 3 riders on each team against the clock on a shortened course. They all 6 rides went clear, which is pretty incredible under the pressure. But the Swedes did it a second quicker than the US. So Sweden took gold, the US took silver.
Who knew Des had become an equestrian expert?
Well, it's an Irish thing, it's an Irish thing. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the Irish team, who were very fancy going into that team event, didn't even qualify for the top 10, so they didn't get to the final. Didn't even qualify. The first one.
Just lost Tony Ross in 4th place. Cracking run though again, Tony, as always. Decent effort. Nice cash for him though, picking up $235, and he's still 3rd in the bounty. So
having a hell of a. Do we have anybody at the top level on the leaderboard yet, or at the moment, Lee?
As in, well, no, Mr. Wigglesworth at all. So it's very much up for grabs.
No, I mean in terms of this week's going in at level 5.
For
$100 tickets. Those glory days are gone, are they?
They've all fallen by the wayside on that. Fantastic. To be fair, Di Farrell had a ridiculous run, and I think it probably is the longest ever person to be at level 5, at step 5. She was there for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
How did we not give her the recognition she deserved?
Well, it was always kind of just picking up a ticket. So it was kind of in the top 20, which are ridiculously consistent. Was very rarely was picking up 2s or 3s, but was picking up the individual ones and just carrying on doing it, which is a nice, a superb thing if you can do it. But we don't actually have anybody on step 5 at the moment. They've all just kind of slightly dropped down a little bit. Eddie is on step 4, and I think he's going to be in the top 20. So Eddie is going to go back up to step 5 next week. I'm pretty sure. The only others that Tony Ross, I think, may well get back up to step 5. He was on step 4 this week as well. Oliver Cox is the other one, but I don't think he's going to get into the top 20 by the looks of it.
Cool. I don't know if you've been following this, Rob, but if you get to step 5, you get a $109 ticket. Is that right, Lee?
Oh, it used to be. It's now 55s.
Down to 55.
We dropped because basically Des's Ferrari fun. Des's Ferrari fun was taking an absolute kicking. So we basically had
Tony Ross. He was beginning to frighten his family. Turn up every Monday to play poker in a bloody mask. It was outrageous. We had to cut him down.
As Brian's all in with ace queen against the 70s. He's got ahead, but the spades have come. Spades have come a calling and saved Kenneth, and we're going to lose Brian.
Oh, lucky Brian. Good run.
In third place. Cracking run, though, picking up $330. And we are now heads up, which means it's Lenka from the Czech Republic against Ken from Canada. Good luck to you both.
Lee, I don't feel we've left anywhere near enough time to talk about football, so we better get into that quickly. Rob, you're back. Premier League, Watford. Yeah. Excited?
Very excited, yeah. Can't wait. I've been having a look at the predictions for the Premier League from people making early ones, and I can't tell you how happy I am to see Watford in the relegation spots, because every time that we were predicted to be relegated, we survived. And then the one time that we weren't predicted to be relegated, we were relegated. So
what type of football can we expect from Watford this season? What are they going to go with?
I think it seems like they're going for pace.
Okay.
We've bought lots of players who can run very, very quickly. Obviously, we already had Ismail Assar, but we've brought in
and hung on to him, interestingly, because there was a number of clubs that were regularly being touted as being interested in him.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's kind of a testament to how well the club is being run at the minute. Because
it's not something you've always been able to say when it comes to Watford's
not.
owners. Yeah,
that's it. Well, we were at 1.15 minutes away from going into administration, so there's definitely been times where it's been tough, and you don't know what's going to happen. Where's the next sort of money coming in from? So yeah, it's been. I mean, it's been great being a Watford fan over the last 10 years or so. It's been really exciting, and we usually play quite attacking football, and in a way it was quite nice to have a season in the Championship, because we went from
at the top, right?
Yeah, that's it. I think the last sort of 15 games we won 13 of them, and lost one, annoyingly lost it to Bournemouth, but I'll get to Bournemouth on a different time. But yeah, I got so used to winning that it's going to be very difficult to change that. And maybe it's not a bad thing that we can't change that mentality, but going into the Premier League, where obviously the quality of the teams that you're playing is significantly higher, I think it's going to be hard to not go in and feel like we're just going to win every game.
Gutted to have missed out on Ashley Young, and he decided to go to one of his other old clubs. I mean, I thought it felt nailed on when you got promoted that's what was going to happen. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he's turned up at Villa.
Yeah. So from the sounds of things, although of course this is all just rumour, it sounded like he wanted a bit more money in his wages than we were willing to pay. So one of the things that I've seen come out from the Watford club owners is that they're going to put in a pretty strict wage structure that they give to players. So Ashley Young was one of the players that wouldn't have fallen into that, and that is in case we do happen to get relegated again, so that we can, and there's another pandemic, that we can afford to keep running the club. I think it was a bit of a harsh lesson learned that we have some players still at the club actually who are on very high wages, and maybe don't contribute as much to the club as we'd like.
That's interesting. But I suppose the point there is you've been sort of a visitor to the Championship, really. I mean, you're still pretty much a Premier club. You've been up in the Premier League for, you've had quite a few seasons in there in recent years. I wouldn't have thought Watford were the most obvious candidate to go down, I have to say.
Well, you'll have had the parachute money for the years, haven't you? So, I mean, arguably financially, it's not the worst thing in the world to happen.
No, I think I think the parachute money definitely helps. It's obviously I don't think we would have got quite as much as we would have done if we were in the Premier League last year, but I definitely think of Watford as a Premier League club now. I don't think we're out of place by being in the league, particularly. So yeah, definitely. I think that's how a lot of Watford fans feel at the minute, to be honest with you, that we're sort of had been established and we'll try to establish ourselves again.
I think, to be honest, I was reading an article today.
Are you there, Lee?
Lockdown season, and it was really, really bad. There was only 3 of them turned a profit. I think everybody else made losses, which is unheard of. Yeah,
it's not good. I think Spurs are at the bottom of that list as well, aren't they, with the stadium and
Very.
That's the reason they want so much money for Kane, to be honest with you, to try and help.
I think the Kane one's a difficult one, isn't it? Because so Man City have just paid 100 million for Jack Grealish, therefore there's the bar set on the market. So how much is a Harry Kane that will guarantee you 20-25 goals in the league a season in his prime? How much is he worth?
Yeah, that's it.
You know, if Grealish is worth 100 million, how much? I don't understand the Grealish deal. I'll be honest. Everybody raves about him. The England fans during the Euros were, raving about him, and he's this and and he played 100 and something minutes of football, set up a couple of goals. That was it, really.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything much more than that. But yet everybody raves about him.
I did see Romelu Lukaku's looking like he might be going for 97 million as well, which I thought he's a great player, but I didn't think he was quite worth 97 million. But like you say, the bar's been set, hasn't it? So
that's the is being thrown at players. It's very difficult to know what you can do. I'm not sure whether Des is playing the best game of statues in the world ever, or his camera's frozen.
Can you guys hear me at all?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm just playing statues. So who wants to take me on?
Don't fancy it. Yeah.
Fiver, anyone?
Yeah. But that's where I think United's transfer dealings so far this season, putting it into context against the sort of money that is being spent on some other players. I think what we're paying for Sancho, compared to what City are paying for Grealish. Now, I don't know whether you can compare the two. It's really difficult to know. But that does seem like City are paying a bit of a premium there. In the same way, what we're going to pay for Varane at centre back, I see. Spurs have just paid Atalanta, 50 odd million or whatever for. I'm thinking we're getting Rafael Varane for like 32 plus some add-ons. It's about
Varane. Varane is a hell of a player, Lee. I've got some footage. I've got some footage of Varane here. Do you want to see him in action? He's just incredible.
It just depends what you're going to be doing. What's he going to play? There we go. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
He's going to make a difference at the back with him and Big Hair.
See, the thing is, you Liverpool fans are always quick to slate Maguire, simply because of the price that was paid. But it was the point that actually he was going to significantly improve our back four, and it's what Leicester wanted, money wise. So you say at the end of the day, you pay if that's what you need to improve your team, you pay that. Whether he's as he's as good as some other defenders out there, I don't know, but he significantly improved our back four. Him alongside Varane at the back, I think he's a Rolls Royce centre back.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great get. For United,
it really is. I just hope we can do a deal for Trippier as well. Would be nice. But I'm really excited for the season. I love the fact that so many of the teams have played pre-season friendlies in the UK and haven't jetted all around the world. That's been great. And the whole thing kicks off. And of course, and Leicester beat City in the Community Shield to kick everything off. So it feels like it's all good. I saw a post. I think it might have been Finton posted up on Twitter. Man City's like first 2 or 2 11s, for City, and it's insane.
Yeah.
That squad of 22, the comment was, well, Pep can't ever complain that, about the fixtures or anything, because he literally has two world-class 11s that arguably would give anyone a run for the money in the league. Lenker's won that, beat Ken heads up. So we are down to 6 in the turbo. So we'll see if Des can get that one up on screen as well. What you hoping for this season, Rob? From Watford? What will be a good season?
I think we've got to go for staying in the Premier League to start with. We're kind of I think the best way to do it is to treat it like we did the first time round, where we're kind of newly promoted. We're used to being in the Premier League, but I don't think we should take that for granted. And we've got to go in and fight for every scrap of possession and minute of the matches that we play, and try and get the points on the board as soon as we can, really. Probably before teams work out how to play against us, because that tends to be a bit of a pattern with Watford, where they play really well at the start of the season, and then all the other teams work out how to play against us, and then we sort of tail off towards the end.
Are you going to be more of a counter-attacking side with your pace, or but still playing a pressing game, or quite happy to allow the opposition to have possession and try and break you down and then hit them?
So I actually think we'll be one of those teams where we adapt to who we've got in front of us. So we'd be playing differently to a team like Liverpool or United, for example, where those teams enjoy the possession. So we'll probably be more counter-attacking against those types of teams. Whereas teams like Burnley and maybe Southampton and Brighton and those sorts of teams, we might be able to have a bit more of the ball and try and break teams down a bit more. So I think we'll probably be adaptive and not necessarily stuck with one.
Yeah, well, as you know, I live on the South Coast and have a lot of friends and clients who are Saints fans, and the Danny Ings deal went through whilst they were all sat watching a friendly at St Mary's last week, and that's when that news broke. And apparently, the other player that wasn't there that night was Vestergaard, the centre back. But the Saints fans are pretty much kind of looking at this, going, "Well, Ings scored our goals, pretty much kept them up 2 seasons ago." Yeah,
gonna be tough.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've got good money for him, but it's genuinely a case of, well, I don't, they're not sure where the goals are going to come from, and are really, really concerned for how this season could play out for Southampton.
Yeah, I think the thing for them as well is it's okay if you make that move early on in the transfer window, but the season starts next week. It's not a lot of time to bring someone in to replace him and then get them trained up and sort of get the chemistry there with the rest of the squad ready for the games, because the game's already happening. So yeah,
they've been rumoured to be after Armstrong from Blackburn, but he could be another Shea Evans who they signed from Birmingham. So Shea Adams, sorry. And if that's the case, they didn't hit the ground running, and you can't afford to do that. As the teams last season found, the ones that got relegated, you have a bad start. It is very, very tough to then get out of that.
That's it. I think I don't know about you guys, but I think Aston Villa are probably going to be a team to watch this year.
I think they've spent really well.
Yeah,
they've got a bit of form though, guys, haven't they? Didn't Villa spend 100 million when they came up a few seasons ago? And they had a really bad season thereafter. So, I did see Mr. Purslow, the Villa CEO, sort of, talking about not being able to replace Jack Grealish, but we're going to replace his finishing with this guy and his legs with this guy and his something else with this guy. I'm not sure that always works. I mean, ultimately, they're talking about 3 players that are sort of a third of the value of Jack Grealish.
But what I would say is that actually I thought Villa as a whole had a pretty good season last year. They certainly weren't a one-player team by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they turned over a pretty average team last season, 7-2, I think it was.
Hello, I can't hear you.
Has it gone?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no. So and Grealish was out for a chunk of last season.
True.
Injury wise, which is why I say I'm still quite surprised that City have paid 100 million for Grealish. But ultimately, if that's what Villa said they wanted, then they've obviously clearly gone, well, yeah, okay, that's what we want to do. But I don't think it's just quite the same as when Villa came up first time round. I think they're spending on some much more stable foundations now than they were when they first got promoted. And I think it'll be a different. I think you're right, Rob. I think they will do very well. I mean, defensively, they were absolutely superb at the back for a good chunk of the season. It did fall apart a little bit towards the end, but yeah, nothing you could fall. And they were really unlucky with injuries, because who's their striker that got injured early on in the season? They paid a lot of money for him, and then he was injured. Can't think what his name is, but somebody in the chat might answer. But yeah, so that they were unlucky with, say, a certain number of injuries. Obviously, we don't go on about clubs that have been unlucky with injuries on this show.
We're clear of injuries, Lee. We're now clear of all injury. Oh, hold on.
Hang on. Yeah, preseason game today. What happened?
Fucking hell. Andy Robbo looks like he twisted his ankle off.
Yeah.
It looked bad.
They were worried it was a break, weren't they, to start with? But they said it's not a break. So
it might just be for the 12 to 15 weeks. Nothing.
Yeah. Who have you got? You got a spare left back though, haven't you? Because you'll have signed cover, surely. Yeah.
Well, we've got Chimicus, but actually the guy who came in for Chimicus is a Greek international. He's a decent player, but
I thought
he's no Andy Robbo.
I thought it was something to do with Mary Poppins. No, not
Chimicos. No, but the guy who came in at left back today, because Chimicus is penciled into tomorrow's friendly game against Osasuna, was a guy called Owen Beck. He's only a young lad. He is a relation of Rushy, and actually he played super well, very, very well. Another sort of young, I think he's probably 18 or 19, something like that. Played very well, looked good.
When are you gonna actually get these? You talk about these youngsters. When are you really going to give them a chance to,
Liverpool will give the youngsters a chance all of the time.
Properly break into the first team and and make a name for themselves. There's not really many. Trent's about the only one that's really properly
Curtis
secured
Jones
down, but not secured.
He's got to secure it. We can only give him like 20, 30 appearances a year. If he can't secure a first team spot out of that, he's not a first teamer.
Is he good enough?
I think he's got further development to do. I think he retains the potential. Harvey Elliott has pretty much played in every game in pre-season. I would expect him to line up against Norwich, which will be quite a shock next weekend. He did very well today. He looks a great little player. He really benefited from a season with Blackburn last year, where he was one of the sort of outstanding attacking players in the Championship. So I think he is the next stop.
Be interesting to see. So who do you think is going to win the title then, Rob, this year?
It's got to be City, hasn't it? I think it's hard to see past the two starting 11s that we saw. Yeah. Like you say,
I mean, and the scary thought is that they could potentially add Harry Kane to that.
Yeah, that's it. It's very hard to see past Man City. I actually think the team that's going to challenge them is probably going to be Chelsea.
Oh, I hate this show. We've got to cancel it. Surely over 100 of these is enough, right? We've done it to death now. We've got to cancel it, right?
Again, I think if Chelsea sign Lukaku, again, and Tuchel gets a full, he's got a full year now in charge, they are going to be super strong. Yeah, they really are going to be super strong.
Yeah,
guys, I'm going to tell you now who's going to win the league, right? And I know you'll say, you don't buy it, but Liverpool are going to win the league this season. It's our year. I'm telling you, we've got no injuries. Okay.
Yeah. It's the scary thing is the four teams that are in the Champions League this year, are all going to have strengthened their squad. Liverpool's case is a lot of injured players coming back, but they've spent a bit as well. To be fair, but you've got a lot of your players. You're back to the full strength squad that you had 2 years ago. City have added to their squad. Chelsea are adding to their squad. United have added to their squad. I mean, you then look at the kind of the next lot down: the Leicesters, the Tottenhams, the Arsenals, Everton's, the West Hams. All, and you think, well, how are they supposed to close that gap from the current top four?
They're not Super League clubs, Lee.
It's really tough to see how they're gonna do that. I am really surprised with some of the spending that's going on, with everything that's happened in the last 18 months. For English clubs to be going, we're just going to go and splash the cash. It's a really surprising thing, because it's not happening. It's not happening anywhere else. PSG have signed pretty much, apart from the right back from Inter Milan, they've signed out of contract players.
Yeah.
I think Barcelona have pretty much done the same thing.
Mm.
Real Madrid, not a single transfer so far. Bayern Munich, I don't think they've signed anybody.
Do you think that's because things are like opened up a little bit more here? You know, we're expecting to have full capacity crowds in the grounds and things like that, whereas other European countries haven't quite got there yet. Do you think that's a reflection of that?
It's the oil money. It's the oil money, because it doesn't mean anything. It literally comes out of the ground. It's always there. That's what's, you know, it's City spending 100 million on Jack Grealish that have enabled Villa to buy some players. It's the promise of Harry Kane going to City that have enabled Spurs to start spending. Abramovich's money is going to buy Lukaku. Nobody else really is spending.
And the reality of it is that match day revenue isn't anything like as significant as it used to be. I mean, for a club like United, our commercial deals now are something like 55% of our revenue is on our commercial deals. Nothing, you know, so nothing to do with match day revenue or anything, which is ridiculous. And if you just looked at purely ticket sales, so ticket sales alone, you know, I mean, fans go on about the price that Premier League charges for tickets to get into the ground. Well, they only do that because they're sold out. Most of the grounds are sold out week in and week out, which means they can afford to charge that. As a clubs, all 20 clubs could half their ticket prices tomorrow, and it really wouldn't make much of a difference to their finances.
No,
it really wouldn't. But the reality of it is there's demand there, so they've got no need to do that, because if somebody says, well, I'm not going to pay that price, somebody else will. So they've got that's the only reason they're at the prices that they're at the price that they are, because actually the revenue that they generate for them it's just not a significant amount of money compared to where else they earn their money. It just isn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fixed opportunity, right? United have what, 75,000 seats? Is that right? 75,000?
Yeah, it's about that,
If you sell them, you sell them, right?
Yeah, it's why United. I mean, I used to be, it was never been a season ticket holder at United, but I had an opportunity about 10, 15 years ago to be a cup season ticket holder, because they used to have those. So you could sign up and have that. It means you had to take any cup home games, which was great for me, because I got to see a load of Champions League football and some great FA Cup runs and stuff. I had some great times. I loved it. I had a couple of season tickets. Me and a mate used to go up, and we'd take the afternoon off work, leave the south coast at sort of 1 o'clock, get up to Manchester for sort of 5:30, park up, watch the game, be back home by 2 in the morning, kind of thing. Loved it. And then they changed the policy, and they insisted that every season ticket holder not only had to have by the league, if they had to buy the cup games as well. And if they didn't want the cup games, they would then sell them through Viagogo, where obviously they then charge a fee and make a fee and everything else. And they basically ditched the cup season ticket. So it basically screwed over the people that couldn't go to every league game. It screwed over the season ticket holders that had league.
Why did they do that, Lee? That
money
doesn't seem to make sense at all.
Well, but they make extra. If you sell a ticket through Viagogo, they make double whammy.
Yeah, but as you said, what's double 2% of your revenue?
But the trouble is there's no thought process behind it. It makes no sense at all, other than they can make a little bit more money, and somebody's gone, well, if we do this, we can make a bit more money. Let's do it. Which is a real shame, because it just it's not looking out for the fans or anything whatsoever. But the problem is, interestingly, I was still on the waiting list, season ticket waiting list, and I think about 7 years ago, about 7 years ago, all of a sudden I got an email saying I was now top of the waiting list. Did I want a season ticket at Old Trafford?
Shit.
And I went, nah, you can do that. I'm not interested at that point.
Why?
But at that point that's the point where they were struggling to sell out tickets at that point. Tony Ross in with the 8 deuce up against ace 2 of John Lawrence. But to be fair there, John was is very much
short.
the short stack. So yeah, it was blind on blind. So you can understand Tony making the call there.
Tony saw that $3.75 and thought, yeah, I'll have that.
But the point is, though, Des, it's like, well, what am I going to do? I'm not going up to Manchester to watch a load of the games, so it just doesn't become a worthwhile thing. And actually, I don't think at the moment it's probably would be that difficult to get a season ticket at Old Trafford if you wanted to. I don't think you'd be that long on a waiting list.
Well, I had a message from a very good friend yesterday who said, send me over your membership number and I'll get you on my season ticket and my friend's season ticket, because now you've got to have an approved list of people that you can actually transfer your tickets to for individual games.
I quite like that, though. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good thing to do. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, what's Watford like for tickets and stuff? Rob, is it?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I had a season ticket for a few years when we were in the Championship. So after the new guys took over, they used to do a long distance season ticket. So my dad, who lives in Blackpool, travelled down every fortnight, and we used to go to the games together, which was quite good. But then when we got promoted, they stopped doing that ticket. I mean, they were selling out the ground, so it's the same reason, you know. It makes,
exactly, yeah.
I understand why they did it, but it's just not the same going on your own to the football as it is when you're going with someone that you know that also supports the team. So I stopped going as a season ticket holder, but still go and buy tickets. I was actually really hoping to get to the first game of the season, because I think the atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. You know, first game back after a year and a half.
Looking at just some of the pre-season games, United had 50,000 people for the game against Everton yesterday, and the players they described it as a lap of honor, but it was a bit of a kind of it's not having had that connection for such a long time, and they were throwing their shirts into the crowd to the fans, and it felt quite a nice thing to do. Is like, we're all back and we're getting on with it. I mean, do we think this is now here to stay with full grounds, or do we think that there's a possibility the autumn might come and restrictions might come back into place? I struggle to see how things can, with all the vaccinations are out there, how it can deteriorate to a point where everything would go back on hold again.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're probably all right now. You can't be complacent, and I think the thing is, people are still being cautious, right? So whenever I go into a shop, for example, I still put a mask on. I don't have any problem with people who don't put masks on either. It's just my choice is to wear one, and we do tests to make sure that we're not, don't have COVID or anything like that. And I think people, probably more because they're just used to doing it actually than anything else, are still being quite cautious. And then, as time goes on, that cautiousness will stop, but hopefully so will transmissions and things like that.
Yeah, completely agree. Just going to give a quick shout out to Angel in the chat, who's just said hello to us. Said, hello, my name is Angel. Hello.
Hi, Angel.
So, we'll just no, I completely agree with you, Rob. I think that's very much where I think we're at. Interestingly, poker's kind of opened up. The Bromleys, friends of the show, were up in Manchester on Friday night to play one of the 30-30s. And Natalie actually made day 2 today. I haven't heard anything more, so I've no idea.
Did you hear from her at all, Lee?
Haven't heard any more. I was
did
hoping.
You hear anything?
She was going to be in. Did I hear it? No, not a word.
Nothing at all. You didn't hear anything? Nothing.
No, she never.
I heard from her.
Oh, did she tell you how it's going? Yeah.
Oh, she didn't mention the poker. She said she sat down at a table.
Des? What did she say, Des?
Well,
Rob, get ready for this.
Slightly embarrassing. She sat down at a table and some bloke, right, probably a bit steamed from the night before, probably, said, "Hey, you're that woman off of the APAT show, aren't you?" And she obviously, took the recognition and what have you. And I don't know. That's all I heard. You didn't see that then, Lee? No?
Yeah, no, I saw it. Yeah.
Did he say anything else?
He might have said something else.
What did he say?
Would you like me to repeat it word for word?
Well, I can't repeat it.
He said he followed up his comment to Natalie and said, "I really like that Des character. He seems like a good guy."
To the one fan, thank you.
I never got a mention.
Natalie apologized to Lee earlier on today in a private message. I'm sorry, Lee. I think there was a lot of lolling going on. I was certainly lolling.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny.
But yes. So yeah. Anyway, to Mrs. Duffy that was playing up in Manchester. That's.
Oh, that's good.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
That
But hey,
was
how
good.
good's that though? So Natalie goes and plays a random tournament, a tournament in Manchester at Bury New Road, and yes, somebody says, "Aren't you that lady off the APAT show?" And she sure is. Yeah, but she was saying, so it was back to normal, Rob. Really, up there, no masks, no nothing. Obviously, Vegas has gone back to requiring masks.
Yeah.
Which we'll see how that pans out for the World Series, but certainly at the moment it would appear in this country, they're not doing that, and obviously Rob Young is starting to put the feelers out for what sort of tournaments Dusk Till Dawn might do, which is obviously exciting. If he's looking to head down there, as we said, he's first of all needs to give that club of his a clean, having seen the videos. But it's unfortunate for Tony. King's into ace king. And Frederick's hit an ace on the flop. Oof. And Tony's going to double him up. Tony had come right back into this, but is now the short stack of 3. Unfortunate for him. I think it's exciting. It's exciting times. Interestingly, I would be put off at the World Series if it is a case of having to wear a mask for 12, 13 hours a day. Yeah. Obviously, I don't last that long in poker tournaments normally, but even for any length of time, the thought of going into a tournament where you're having to wear a mask all day at the table, it doesn't feel that enjoyable to me.
I think a big part of it is seeing how people react to things as well, isn't it? And it's harder to do any of that when their face is covered up. And I part of the reason I like playing poker live is because you get to chat to people and do meet people you wouldn't normally meet, and then hopefully try and take the money.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the idea. It's all friendly stuff, isn't it? Yeah, really. Yeah. So, and we're going to lose Tony. King Jack against Ace Queen. Jack first card out, but Emil hit an ace on the flop, and then another one on the turn just for good measure. And we are going to be heads up.
Wow.
With these two. They're both guaranteed $78 now, and they've got fairly even. Emil's got $38 worth of bounties, and Frederick's got $49 worth of bounties. But they're now playing for. Let's have a look. What's it? It's 48 on the table multiplied up, so they're effectively playing for about $96 worth of bounties to finish this off. Whoever wins this heads up now, so it'll be a nice little payday for one of them. And obviously, it's Emil that's got the pretty much 3-1 chip lead here. Have you got plans to play some live poker, Rob? Or what's your thoughts around that?
Yes, do you know I did have a little afternoon to myself a few weeks ago where I thought, oh, maybe I'll go and play, and then I have to say I did bottle it a little bit and decided to just go to the pub instead. But I think I will. I probably will go back. I'd like to play some tournaments, I think. So one of the things that I haven't told either of you is that we're actually moving up to Blackpool from Enfield. So potentially some of the people listening won't know this either because it's quite new news. So I'm keeping my job in the south. So I'll still be down every 2 weeks. So I'm going to see everyone, which is why I haven't really told anyone that we're moving yet. But when we've been up in Blackpool, I've been keeping my eye on the tournaments up there, and it definitely looks like there might be some good ones going on. So obviously we know the Grosvenor in Blackpool quite well already from playing the APAT team events there. But there's some good ones in Manchester as well. Are
you Black? So Central Blackpool, is that the plan, or?
Yeah, so we're going to be in a little town called Poulton-le-Fylde, which is just outside of Blackpool. That's where I grew up, so we're moving up because that's where my my family are, and we can get a decent sized house up there. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Excellent.
Oh, fantastic. We got our exclusive, Lee. After all, we weren't expecting it to be on property, but there you go. So when are you hoping to make the move, Rob?
So hopefully it'll be the first week of September. So not long to go.
Watch this space. I mean, that's pretty close now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, awesome.
Exciting.
So the Turbo Knockout has completed, and Emil Hackler from Finland picks up the win and picks up just over $210 for a $10 buy-in there. Very nice indeed. Frederick Klassen from Sweden finishes in second, and the aforementioned Tony Ross finishes in third. What that does mean for the leaderboard for the week, I think we're on about week 22 of this leaderboard ladders. Des, I don't know quite where the time's gone, but I think I'm on well over like 500 nights in a row of writing down players' names on a spreadsheet. If somebody,
you need to see somebody about that, Lee.
Somebody save me, please. If somebody can save me, I can tell. Well, I think I know where I am, so I can tell you where I am. Anyway, so Pete Wigglesworth was top of that table on 132 points. Brendan Byrne, though, picked up a couple of a cash tonight, which puts him on 135 points.
Oh, wow.
However, Tony Ross's third place finish tonight in that final tournament puts Tony on 140 points. So the boy Ross has done good again and tops the table. He's on step 4. So that's going to cost us 3 lots of $33 tickets. Oh, goodness me. Good job. It was a cheap week last week. Brendan Byrne third is on step 3. He picks up 2 tickets, as does Pete, as does Lenka Husarova from the Czech Republic. Well done to you, Lenka. And Ross Gerard sneaks into the top 5 as well, picking up tickets. Other names to mention, Matt Sayers, he's on step 2. He picks up a ticket. Eddie got into the top 20. He goes up to step 5 next week. Well done to him.
Yeah, good score.
Gordon MacArthur is back with a new middle name on the leaderboard. He's obviously had to verify his account with Party Poker because he's clearly winning too much money. So they've verified his account now. So we get Ian's middle name. He's actually like Will I Am now. That's the way I see it. So
Gordon I MacArthur.
G.I. MacArthur. Yeah. So that's how
brilliant. G.I.
He's so he's on he was on step 3, so he'll move up to step 4. That's pretty much it. Di just missed out. So she was on step 4 this week, and she finished 22nd. I think she finished 22nd last week as well.
That's relegation.
Last week. She finished 27th in the end last week, but only literally like 8 points off making top 20. So, but I'm sure Di will be back because she's still playing regularly, and I'm pretty sure we'll be back up that leaderboard. No problem whatsoever. So tickets from last week and tickets from this week will go into accounts this week. I will fire those all off to Party Poker and we will get those done. But that's us done for another week of Leaderboard Ladders, Des.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lee. Thank you for your 500 days of service, sir.
Oh, I've just seen Reno APAT. So Tony Ross he's in the chat going, did I beat Wiggle? Did I beat Wiggle? That's all he wants to know. Yes, you did, Tony. Yes, you did.
It's another good news story for the Ross household. And listen, we have to thank the Needham household tonight. Rob, lovely to have you on and to get some sort of updates in terms of the third book, which will be coming out. We're saying October, I think. Coming out in October, so we'll look forward to that. We will definitely have you on again, providing we're still here, right? I mean, I'm not sure if we can afford it. What with Tony Ross just continually beating us up. Week after week, he beats us up.
We haven't even mentioned the summer break we're planning. So, that's just so, That's
if we do a summer break between now and October, then I think we'll be okay, Lee. We'll be okay.
I was going to have a word with customer support at Party and see if I can get something done with Tony's account. That's what I was thinking about doing. Actually, the whole thing crashed on Wednesday. Maybe we should just see if they can do that when Tony's winning. And
why can't we do these things? We've got our name. We've got our name on the tables. Why can't we do these things?
We'll pull the lever. Yeah, we must have a lever somewhere, mustn't we? We can do that.
Don't talk about even 15 years on. Don't talk about the lever. Yeah. So thank you to Rob for joining us tonight. It was lovely to have you on, Rob, and we hope to see you back. A minimum in October to talk about the new book when it comes out. We're looking forward to that very much. Good luck with the move in the interim. Say hi to everybody back at base. And, for everybody else, thanks for playing as you always do. Lee and I will be back next Sunday night with the finalization of another week of leaderboard action. And until then, have a great week. Right. Good night, everybody.